So, hey guys, today we're going to be talking about Memento and how Memento is surprisingly splashable. I mean, the package that you want to run, like the size for your Memento package, that is kind of up to you. But yeah, it's a little bit better now that they've printed the new Goblin card actually. Just oddly enough, kind of annoying that you might need to run multiple Memento-ling goblins. So that's just going to be some deck building math that you'll have to resolve. But yeah, if we go ahead and grab the minimal Memento package, it would look something like this, I think. If we're trying to splash this in with another archetype, we want to max out on Bone Parties. Fusion, I'm still conflicted on. It will depend on the deck build, what you run Fusion at, but for now, we'll put it at 3. Goblin, we'll want at least one Goblin, one Mace, and then Horned Dragon is kind of optional, but for the time being, we'll throw this out one, and we'll also throw in one copy of the Horse, one copy of Combined Creation, and technically, if we want to be minimalistic, we don't have to cap out Darkblade. We can run just one Darkblade and 2 Angwitch. The reason we're running 2 Angwitch instead of 1 Angwitch and 1 Sleepy is because Sleepy is more of a brick than Angwitch. So I think it would be slightly preferred to have Angwitch just to have an extra name for later. So in total, the amount of names we have right now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 names, which is sufficient if we get hand trapped once and we didn't start with Darkblade. That would put us at still 5 cards. I suppose, right? Depends where we get interrupted exactly, though. But yeah. The next thing we can just go ahead and throw in is the Goblin Biker quick play. So we have Grand Breakout. So you can just cap out on this if you want. But the thing about this is it only special summons Goblin monsters from your deck, which is potentially moderately annoying. But yeah, that would mean you're kind of better off running like 2 goblins just to make sure you have a target for Grand Breakout. But doing 1 might still be possible, and that is because you can just be running Goblin Bikers in general. So if we were to mix, for example, Memento with Goblin Biker, having 1 Memento Lin Goblin, not the worst thing in the world, and there are a good amount of starters now for Goblin Biker that will not require your normal summon. So you have the punk cards and Etelli, and then you could also technically with the punk cards make Ancient Fairy Dragon to grab Memento Miklon, and also to special summon like a Memento from your hand with AFD. Assuming it's the right level, I suppose, but not really that big of a deal. In terms of starters right now, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1-card starters, which is just not that bad, and technically Goblin Biker Grand Breakout plus any normal summonable monster is technically also combo. But what would be a little bit more ideal is if you just went combo of some sort, and then you just tribute a random extra monster, and then you can special summon like a goblin. That would be kind of the ideal, I suppose. But of course, you also have the idea of working from Big Gabonga into the Memento cards as well. So we can go Big Gabonga, which we can special summon in a variety of ways. So like with the punk cards, with a tour guide, I believe, right? And then you have a few other ways. But essentially, you know, we make Big Gabonga. We can then grab a copy of Doug Charger special summoning itself. Then we can retain Big Gabonga if we wish. And then we could technically convert this into the XYZ armored stuff. For example, that's just an idea, right? And then, anyway, Doug Charger effect to detach from Big Gabonga, special summoning itself, grabbing Grand Breakout effect on Goblin Biker Doug Charger to tribute this, and then special summoning Memento Goblin for combo. So we can convert a few weird cards into essentially one card Memento combo. So that could be Tour Guide, Emergency Teleport, Xiaoman. We have as well a few other cards, and there are a variety of usages for this, but if we were to do this using the fun cards, then we might consider doing this a different way. So if we have like fun cards, there are like two different routes I can see that we could potentially try. So if we were to do the AFD, we're going to need to hard open some memento cards or draw into them, which is in general not too unlikely. I think it's kind of fine. And you're okay putting like a memento infusion into the graveyard. So there's that idea. And then we can split off into synchro route essentially, or the XYZ route. If we go XYZ route, we're making Goblin Biker Big Gabanga. So we can do that. So it's like we're going to start off of just normal summon Xiamen. Normal summon Xiamen, make Foxy Tune, or add Foxy Tune. We can then resolve Foxy Tune effect to special summon one of these guys. So if we're being very focused on the XYZ route, we would do just special summon Madame Spider, and then a Madame Spider effect to add a trap from our deck to the hand. And that's just interaction for next turn as well. If we're going Synchro route, we could go like Sharakusai. I mean, if we're going XYZ route, we could still go Sharakusai. And then resolving Rising Carp to grab Wagon and the Madam Spider. Or we could do something like, I guess, it'll be Wagon plus Deer Note, and then we get the draw off of the Dragon Drive. Bring back one of our level 3 tuners, and then special summon with the field spell effect the Madam Spider, and then make an XYZ rank 3, and we'll just end up with the extra body of Dragon Drive, depending on how much investment we want to like make into the Funk package. And then there's like the AFD line where we can make like the Atlantis, the Menacing Mantis, for example, or we can make just like a tuner level 8 synchro, and then bring back a level 8 with the Deer Note to make Tzolk'in. And then you would off of the Wagon or Madam Spider, you would have added a Speller Trap, which you can then set to trigger Tzolk'in to special summon a card. So we could do special summon Ancient Fairy Dragon or Crystal Wing. So we have a few options here. And then you're just gaming, I guess. So with AFD route, I'm going to assume we're grabbing Memento Miklon plus special summoning and Memento from hand. With the XYZ route, we're able to then go into Big Kabanga and go into the Memento combo from Memento Link Goblin. And you could technically run a mixture of both, and I think that's fairly doable and fairly reasonable to do. And it's not like too insane. Yeah. You have then some extra back row that's going to be just either a negate or pop situationally. Probably better to just go for essentially the infinite impermanence. Yeah. You can just get like easily a bajillion negates here, and you have all a crap ton of starters, essentially. And obviously the best option would be those that do not require your normal summon. So if we had a certain hand, we could even consider well, if we start with the Memento cards, if you go through the Memento combo, going to Horn Dragon part, and then you add Combine Creation, we can do Foxy Tune to pitch the Combine Creation, and then resolve the Punk combo afterwards. And you might consider doing this if you have Emergency Teleport. So we can do like normal summon Goblin to full combo, grab Combine Creation, pitch Combine Creation, and then do this full combo afterwards. And you technically do have the option to somewhat play around Nib by going into SP first. I mean, it's not like foolproof, but you'll end on something if you do that. So you still always have that option. And yeah, those are just some ways I figured we could probably play Memento. But you know, we have like Teratop at Dakatonborg, go into Big Kabanga, and then you know, Memento combo. So the reasoning behind this and how this could be better than actually the new support and even like just Bone Party, like you might even almost consider cutting Bone Party. It depends on like exactly what your goals are for this build. But yeah, if we have like Angwitch plus Bone Party, this is much worse than if we had Teratop plus Angwitch. So if we start Teratop, we can then go into Goblin and then go into full combo, Memento combo, right? But if it gets negated, we still have normal summon Angwitch. If we have Bone Party getting negated, and or like, well, it's not necessarily like going to be Angwitch, right? But the basic idea here, well, it wouldn't be with Bone Party. Actually, Bone Party's fine, but Fusion and some other cards. But yeah, if we have Fusion plus Angwitch, it's not resolvable ever, this Fusion, if something happens to the Sandwich, right? So it's the idea that we have cards that can just all be starters and all used on the same turn. And we're able to force some interactions. That's about it. That's the basic idea here, right? So Special Summon Teratop gets negated, fine. Normal Summon Angwitch, right? And then that's combo. If we start with like, well, Bone Party's like the best one, so that doesn't really count. But if we go like Angwitch plus Fusion, we're not going to have much of a combo. And in fact, now that I look at it, wait, Teratop plus Angwitch, even if you negate Angwitch, is still going to be somewhat combo. I haven't calced the line, but this is a level 3 and this is a level 3. So you can actually make Goblin Biker Big Gabanga and then go into Goblin and start comboing from there, actually. I don't know what that ends on because I didn't see that line until just now, so I haven't calced it. So it could be like anything. But yeah, you know, still combo. So that's something, right? So that's through 2 interactions, you still end on something. Through 2 interactions, you wouldn't end on anything with like a Bone Party, actually. So this is actually straight up better than an Angwitch plus Bone Party, which is a bit crazy to think about. So like, I don't know. Imagine you have Imperm plus Ash Blossom, Imperm Angwitch, Ash Blossom on Bone Party. Same kind of thing if you were to do this on Goblin Biker Grand Breakout, except, you know, we kind of need Goblin Biker Grand Breakout for the big Kabanga, so that's like a hand we're not hoping for necessarily, but alright. Memento Lin Bone Party to go into Sandwich, I guess, right? And also, if we have Teratop and E-Telly, we might not need to normal summon, so then we could normal summon like an Angwitch and full combo, do a Memento full combo maybe. Kind of bit just a little bit awkward maybe, because I didn't calc this yet, but Tatsuno Toshigo here, we're going to need to control no monsters or only Memento monsters for this, which I'm not 100% sure how doable that is. Well, actually, no, it is super doable. We just would link off Big Gabanga and Doug Charger and then tribute whatever we summon off of that. I don't know if there's like a super good target for this, but we could do that. Hell, we could even throw in a Fiendsmith combo, actually. Well, it's not as good right now, necessarily, but go Moon, go Requiem, Engraver, whatever, right? We could do that with, like, these guys, then go from there, right? We could even make sequence later after this. You know, imagine Requiem, special summon, maybe Necroquip. I don't know if there's any benefit to that. Well, it gets a little bit convoluted from here, so let's stop there and we'll kind of solve that in another future video, maybe. But yeah, Memento by itself, honestly, as pure Memento, I feel like it doesn't fully tap into the potential of Memento, and people just haven't really been experimenting. So yeah, that's just a few basic ideas, and there's just synergy just hanging around, just all over the place. And I'm not sure necessarily if like the Fiendsmo stuff is the best option, but you know, extra deck wise, do you guys know how many cards you actually need for just Memento extra deck? So if we're looking like pure Memento, and we're really not using any other extra deck cards, it's just like one copy of Twin Dragon and then maybe two of Tekula Creation King, but technically you don't even need to run the two, but you can definitely run two. It's not like that big of a deal, right? And then we have a few other cards. I don't think we really need Cross Sheep, so it's like SP, IP, and then you have Sprite Elf and Guardian Chimera. The card that is the most cuttable, I think, is probably just IB. So yeah, Guardian Chimera. Okay, and you only need to run the one for Memento Infusion. And a bunch of these cards are technically just cuttable for a variety of reasons. But the most cuttable one, I think, would be IB. So if we just cut IB, we have 9 extra deck slots where we're free to do whatever we want. And this could be like going into Goblin Biker line, Punk line. We could go into technically Centurion. That's like a whole different video that I've already done before. We could also go into Altergeist, actually, because there's actually some synergy between Altergeist and Memento. I mean, that one is like very minimal and requires you to open like insanely specific hands. But when you do pull it off, it's pretty nasty what that endboard actually does. You have like 2 Snatch Steals, multiple Spell Trap Negates. So in terms of endboard, that one is one of my favorites because you just can deal with pretty much anything your opponent throws at you, or it feels that way at least, I suppose. But you know, pretty nasty, I'd say. So yeah. Oddly enough, in that build, we don't really utilize Multi-Faker because, you know, Multi-Faker has that lock. So we're just playing mostly Geist without Multi-Faker. So real quickly to go through the idea of the line for that combo, I guess, is that we're going to be mostly abusing a few cards. So we have Promethean Princess, and we also have Ambler Whale. And we're going to also need Hextia. So here is the general idea for how this line works. So I believe we have to start with the Memento cards because of Tatsu no Tushigo. But yeah, basic idea here, pretty simple. We're going to do most of the 1-card line for Altergeist. So that's like normal summon Meluseek, Link Off, or Link Rebo. And then we have the effect of Malwisp to special summon back Meluseek. And then we link summon Hextia. Then we can link off for Promethean Princess. And then what we're adding off of Hextia is going to be the Pukri. And then we're going to link off Hextia to make Hextia. And we're going to then link off specifically it'll be, in this case, I believe it should be Promethean Princess plus Horned Dragon to make Ambler Whale. And because we did the full Memento combo, we should actually have a copy of we should have a copy of Fusion in the graveyard. So we're going to use Fusion effect to pop to add another Memento spell or trap. So here I would add Cranium Burst, and this triggers Ambler Whale's effect, I believe, right? If this card is destroyed, you can target a Link 3 or lower monster in either graveyard, special summon it. So that will be Hextia. And because we have 2 Hextia on the field, we can actually add up to Adminia, which requires you to actually use 2 Altergeist cards. So we're going to use Hextia plus Hextia to make Adminia, which is then going to, I believe, set a card. And it's going to also have the effect to be a quick effect, kind of negate. So what I think we're going to do with this, from what I vaguely remember, well, if we only open like exactly what we need to do this combo, it'll be something like Adminia effect, sending the trap we set. So in this case, it should be like a Reborn. And that Reborn should bring back Hextia, and we're going to take control of one of our opponent's monsters, place it next to the Hextia zone, and then we're going to have a combo from there. If we open like certain cards, we can do a little bit more. And in situational, if we're able to do that stuff. But yeah, basic idea here then is that we have Adminia Snatch Steal, we have May Snatch Steal, we have 5 negates, Promethean Princess in the graveyard kind of just lurking, and quite a lot of other kind of goodies hidden. But yeah, that's the basic idea for that. I think I'd go more in depth in a different video if you're interested. But yeah. Memento, you can get pretty creative with how you're playing Memento. So one really cool thing I have here, this Promethean Princess Ambler Whale shenanigans. And we also have, well, technically, yeah, you can use this to pop Ambler Whale for any fire deck. So you could do this for like Snake Eye Fire King, you could do this for also just Snake Eye in general, I guess, technically. Or Salamangreat, I guess. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.